B-Bad and Brandon.
How's your morning been, sir?
Sorry, guys.
How's your morning been?
Well, it's only 10 a.m. here, but it's already been quite productive, which is good.
Yeah, remember, we're in the future.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
Well,
Yeah,
they always say that WA's in the past, right?
a little bit, but it's good to have you on, mate. We've passed. Oh, sorry, that was the coffee burp there. My apologies. We've passed each other a lot of competitions, but it's finally good to have you on board and chat around a few things coming up.
Awesome.
You guys are bloody pumping over there. I don't know how you guys keep up.
Man, we have a lot of stuff going on. So
That's insane.
Yeah, so we have obviously we have a team of people here as well. So there's I think there's 7 staff. I think 5 full-time and 2 part-time. And I've got basically a virtual assistant as well who works full-time from overseas. So there's quite a lot going on, man. So
bloody hell.
It's when we
Not too bad for a little powerlifting, Jim.
Sorry?
Not too bad for a little powerlifting, Jim.
Well, look, man, that's an interesting statement because unfortunately, as you guys know, if you just focus on powerlifting, you can't pay your mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So we've had to kind of pivot a little bit into general population work. One, because it's good and it's a great way to get people into strength training and help people accomplish things. And in some respects, and I don't know if you guys experience the same thing, sometimes it's a bit more rewarding as well because it's so different from powerlifting clientele, right? You know, when you can get someone who basically needs to learn how to move, or someone who needs to lose 50 kilos of body weight, or has some serious shit going on. If you can get them actually improving, you can actually change someone's life, right? Whereas in powerlifting, okay, cool, we got you from 100 kilo squat to 200. You know what I mean? Which is cool, but it's a kind of a different, a different satisfaction.
It looks good on that photo. Screenshot.
So
we just lost you there, Dan. You're back again.
It's been very tricky to try and, I guess, segue into that kind of business, but still maintain the powerlifting and strength training mantra.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
It's difficult because you've got to try and portray content, I guess, on social media to different audiences, but still relate to the different audiences. It's really difficult. And I'm certainly not going to say we're perfect at it because we're by far from perfect at it. But, we do the best we can,
Yeah, but I mean, I do agree with you there for a little bit. There's only so many powerlifters out there at the moment, and then you do pivot. You got to find, you bring in the general population. But I do agree, it is a little bit more rewarding seeing someone who could barely, might even be they couldn't touch their toes.
Correct.
And suddenly they're squatting with a barbell on their back, or they're deadlifting from the floor, and that's
exactly.
To them, that's life-changing.
Exactly, man. You can literally improve the quality of someone's life. But in powerlifting, it's, it's a sport, right? So it's a different thing. It's a completely different thing. You're talking about health and fitness versus sporting related. It's totally different, right? It's not, to be honest, it's not even the same industry. I don't think it is even the same industry, right? We're talking about general population health and fitness, and then we're talking about the sporting industry. They're not the same thing. While we both use the gym to facilitate what we're trying to achieve, they're not the same thing at all, right? So
100%.
But the good thing is you can segue people from health and fitness and stuff, and you can use strength training to do that. And then a lot of them will say, want to jump into powerlifting because they're here at the gym and they see what everyone else is doing, and there's all the equipment that's fancy and shiny and colorful, and there's comps going on, and looks, it's a good way to keep them motivated and hitting goals. And so we really use powerlifting as a mechanism to try and keep people motivated in training and hitting targets. And someone does a comp in June, next minute they're like, fuck yeah, the November novice comp's coming up. There's 5 months of growth that they can have, and obviously 5 months that we can keep a client on board and motivated. And so you just use comps as a mechanism to keep people going there. Without the comp, sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to set goals, and some people don't even really know what the fuck they want. They want to lose weight, but they don't know how much weight they want to lose. They don't even know why they want to lose weight. They just know they want to lose weight, right? So it's hard to hit the pain point for them and sort of hit that emotional reason why. But with powerlifting, it's easy,
100%.
man.
But
I squatted 100 kilos and I almost got 120 kilos because it's going to feel fucking awesome.
yeah. And that's such a good thing about the comps. It's like, people hang around the environment long enough, they're going to want to jump in. And it's a lot of fun for them. It's a lot of fun for the coaches. Like, personally, I know I get a lot of buzz out of seeing a novice first time lifter as opposed to going, another GPC comp, another APL comp, whatever the federation is. It's just like, we've seen it.
I agree.
Watching someone,
100% agree with you.
watching someone go to the platform for the first time is so much fun.
Sometimes those novice comps are way more entertaining than they're entertaining in a different way, right? Obviously, because you're seeing that sort of emotional connection when they first compete versus holy fuck, Trent squatted 400. It's a different excitement, right? But it's just different, What about you guys? I mean, to be honest, like I've seen you guys on, obviously I've seen you over the years and seen pictures of the gym. I don't really tell me a little bit about your business and how it's sort of structured. Is it similar to us where you're sort of encapsulated around the sport and then you sort of
So I think I'm a bit different to both of you guys because I get to run Epic out of Valhalla Strength and I subcontract to Matt Gall, and I get to really run without, I guess, having to the worry about the overheads of a gym, so to speak. So that gives me a bit more freedom, I believe, in terms of how I can branch out. Like I do a lot of Gen Pop stuff, a lot of powerlifting stuff, a lot of rehab stuff, and then a lot of now we're stepping into the education realm, working with other coaches around us, upskilling the game throughout there. And I think, and I'm lucky, Matt and I have a really good relationship where I can do those things. So I'm a bit different in that sense, I believe, but also it's the same thing, man. Like, got to a point where I was like, I love training powerlifters, but I also love training Gen Pop. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. And FB, I guess, would be a classic example of that small community gym where powerlifting is used as the modality for training within the four walls there, but their reasons to want to train it is completely different. And then we find the people attracted to that gym are people you would never see in the same room anywhere else. Literally. And they're all there with a common goal, and that's to defy gravity. And it's just a real motley crew of humans. A good portion will compete, but I call it more competing is their path of fitness, essentially.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like they use strength training as an opportunity to get better and healthier, but at the same time, competition allows them that something special, puts a bit more purpose and meaning behind it. And something we train a lot of masters guys in our gym, a lot of, I don't want to say older because I'm 40 and I'm in that older category pretty soon too, where a lot of them.
Are you 44?
In September, yeah.
No way. Which bit of you's 44?
Yeah, man. I'm 44 in September. Well, Paul and I both are, obviously.
God damn.
Yeah.
Is there a moisturizer or what are we doing here?
Right. I don't know.
You're looking good.
Remember,
that's bullshit. You are not 44.
Yeah,
I don't get
it's cleaner over there or something.
I honestly thought you were maybe because I'm 29, so I thought you were 33, 34.
Wow, I do all right for a 44-year-old, huh?
Yeah, fucking earth, bro.
Yeah,
I'm good, more shocked at that than anything else. We might as well just call the podcast there. Like that's it.
Look, man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. I think I saw a post recently. You guys celebrating, was it 9 or 10 years as a gym?
10 years. So on June the 6th, it was 10 years. So we opened up 2012, June 6th.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a massive milestone for a gym. You guys must be really proud to be able to do that. Do you sit back and reflect from where you started to where you are today?
I'll be honest, haven't really had time. It's definitely something. Look, man, I mean, it's just it just creeps up, right? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, fucking 10 years is gone. And it's funny because like people overestimate how much they can do in 1 year, right? And they underestimate how much they can do in 10 years. When you go, if I go back 10 years ago, the amount of stuff that we've accomplished and done in the last 10 years is crazy. And to think if we're here in another 10 years, where we might be. Look, man, it's just a journey like anything, and we've done a lot of stuff. I mean, we're in our fourth building, for example. We've basically moved 3 times into our fourth building. And, look, things change over the years. We started as a very small 170 square meter gym and then sort of got bigger and bigger and I guess got more ambitious and more ambitious in terms of the type of facility that we wanted. But we always sort of had the vision of trying to create a facility that was, trying to bring, that old school belief system of powerlifting and that grunginess about it and sort of couple that with the modern college style of training center where it was all new and shiny and stuff. And so Paul and I have
Yep.
from the beginning have tried to sort of bring those two worlds together. So now we have this concept of modern powerlifting facility, right? And let's be real, there's some people out there that don't like that. They still like that grungy old school, which is cool. And I totally understand the roots and the purpose and all that. But I think in order for the sport to grow, gyms that facilitate powerlifting need to be more family friendly. They need to be more inviting. No one wants to walk into a gym that's just got shit everywhere. It just doesn't work. You can't grow a sport that way. Look at any of the sports that are very successful. They have very modern facilities. It's very, very different, right? And so that's kind of the angle that Paul and I have come from in terms of what we wanted from our facility and how we plan to grow the sport. You go back 20, 15 years, 20 years, novice comps didn't exist. You're never going to get a woman like with kids coming into one of those comps. It was just too grungy. Like it's just not family friendly, right? But I think now, and I think Australia has played a big role in showing the world the types of facilities that can be achieved, right? I think in Australia we have probably
100%.
some of the best modern powerlifting facilities. You look in, I mean, I've been to facilities in Europe, and I've been to Westside, I've been to Matt Wenning's gym, which is a private facility, but I've been to all those types of gyms, man. And like here in Australia, we definitely have some of the biggest and best equipped public, like let's call them public facilities, right? Where they're not private. Elite FTS is a private gym, Matt Wenning's gym is a private gym. Westside, in some respects, is private, but you can earn your spot there. In Australia, man, I think we're a lot of us in terms of facilities are showing the world how it's done, man, and it's awesome.
I agree, man. Like you see some of the, obviously social media. I've only visited a few gyms overseas, but the facilities we have here for specifically PL athletes, I don't think they realize how lucky we've got it.
Man, no, they don't. And it's funny because like the people that have sort of come into the sport, perhaps say in the sort of the last sort of 3 to 5 years, they just think this is normal, man. They come into our gym and they just think it's normal, right? And I have to remind them sometimes, guys, what we've got here is not normal. Like you will literally not find another gym like this anywhere in the world. Like, sure, there's some other gyms that are very similar, but you're not going to find what we've got here. You're just not, right? Sure, there are a few other gyms in Australia that are awesome, but like, and they're going to be very difficult to replicate. And people in those gyms are very lucky as well. But like, people think this is normal. People think having
you guys are not normal.
4,000 kilos of calibrated weight and all the specialty bars and all them, they think that shit's normal. It's not normal.
We were lucky enough. We were in your third gym, the one before this one, for the teenage, junior equipped masters.
That TMJ thing, yeah.
That was a facility like I've never seen, let alone a comp like I've never seen before. Just blown away with just the fact. I mean, everything matched was the first thing that got me. Everything is completely shiny, like you said. It was one of the coolest forward-facing monoliths I've ever seen. The AV behind the scenes stuff is what blew me away.
Yeah,
I still talk about that today to everyone. That's awesome. Like that's incredible.
Appreciate it.
But I think it is, like as you said, like it's the pinnacle of I believe as well. Powerlifting gyms. I've visited a few in Australia now, but especially the way you run a comp, like I've never seen a comp run in a gym like that, so efficient, so smooth, and that AV box setup, it still gets me like jazzed, because that's if we want to grow the sport of powerlifting, and obviously if we grow the sport, everyone wins, I believe.
Big time.
It's going to take that kind of investment, man. Like we need to make it more mainstream. We want to make it more, as you said, family friendly. And I think you guys are doing that. I think you guys are doing it at a very high level as well. You're putting a lot of your time and effort, and one thing, obviously you guys got GPC Nationals coming up, and I've personally never had to organize a comp, but I've been lucky enough to see what Matt's had to go through running in Nationals. I've been along this guy long enough with Capo, and it's like lifters don't understand, I believe, how much time, not even just money, but time goes into these events.
Time is money, bro.
Yeah,
the amount of time that we invest into running these comps, people don't realize how much blood, sweat, and tears it takes. And I'll be honest, man, if I didn't love this, I wouldn't be fucking doing it. It ain't worth it, man. Like, if I was doing this to like drive a Lambo, not happening, right? This is completely, and I speak for every meet director and every powerlifting gym owner, it's literally a labor of love,
Yep.
And the reason we do it is because all of us have a vision, and sometimes the visions that we all share aren't the same. But I think in the long term, we all share the same vision in terms of like where we think we'd like powerlifting to be, right? You know, Capo has a different vision to APL, different vision to APU, different vision to USAPL, to GPC, in terms of federations. And, you know, and then you talk about Pro Raw, you talk about, you know, all the different invitationals, you know, I mean, like, they all add up to something, you know. And while we might not all share exactly the same vision, I think we all want the sport to prosper in the long run, you know. Look, man, we're really looking forward to GPC Nationals, and I know that's why we're here to talk. What we're here to talk about. So, are we live now? We started.
Yeah, we started ages ago.
We started ages ago, bro. All this is recorded.
Yeah, that's all cool.
We did get a little bit too comfortable there because we were just like started talking, and then it was like, oh, it's just like catching up with old friends, and you know, I mean, like that's every big powerlifting meet. It is always just that big catch up that we love, and
yeah, look,
GPC Nats is coming up.
Yeah, look, it's gonna be. You know, I mean, you guys came to TJMES at the last venue, and we got so much good feedback about that comp. You know, everyone was like, "When are you going to have a GPC Nationals? A GPC Nationals?" And you know, and I don't know if you guys know the history of GPC, but basically the history with running GPC Nationals is it had to be run at a venue, right? My argument is like, what's a venue? Like, what defines a venue? See, Paul and I built this facility as an events venue, right? We literally have permanent setup. I can have, and this is, you know, without sounding arrogant, you know, or whatever. I can literally have probably at any particular time within 1 hour, I can have one of the best competitions running in the country right here without having to worry about fucking moving equipment and setting shit up.
No moving monos. What a treat.
It's literally a turnkey solution for powerlifting, right? Which is what we wanted, you know? So even our novice comps are run the same way as I'm going to run GPC Nationals. Sure, there's going to be a few more bells and whistles for Nationals, but it's literally run the same way, you know? And what it means is that it's advantageous for the lifters here because they can always compete in a consistent environment, right? Whether they're training here or whether they do a novice comp and then progress to the other federations that we run, it's consistent, right? So, you know, they're getting a consistent experience. So what's good about that is, you know, when they do a novice comp, they're getting, and again, they don't realize how lucky they are. They're getting like a high level, a high quality experience of powerlifting, which then obviously, hopefully, most of the time it does, it sets them up to opt in for the sport long term. And that's what we're really big on, is making sure that lifters have that experience where they do decide to take up powerlifting, you know. And while heaps of gyms run novice comps and stuff in the, you know, little spaces and sometimes in driveways and stuff, and it's really good and I love that. But sometimes I think and it's great for community and sort of building different areas, especially, you know, if gyms are far away and all that. But sometimes I feel that sometimes lifters aren't getting the best experience, which, you know,
it just giving them a real experience of what a comp is.
Other people, but you know, we wanted a venue that we could basically turnkey solution to powerlifting, right? So, and what it means is that it gives us the chance, instead of having, like, for example, APL Nats is on this weekend, and Thomas and the boys there are doing a great job, right? But their main priority was, fuck, we need to get this comp running. Platform, weights, equipment, banner, you know, stuff that we don't have to worry about. I can just turn a key and it's on. So it means that Paul and I have the chance and the opportunity to spend time on other things that make the comp more polished and more refined and more spectator friendly. You know what I mean? So, you know, like for example, for GPC Nationals, there's lots of things that we're going to be doing that other meet directors just don't have time to do because, like, they're actually just worried about, like, transporting. How am I going to transport equipment to the venue? How, you know, all that type of thing, right? And so that's why we're able to deliver, I guess, a higher quality of competition, because we have the time to spend on all those other little things that, you know, just make the difference.
So we'll see that full AV setup in full swing for GPC Nationals, will we?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as the V3 that you guys saw. I can't remember if there was the two TVs at the front, but basically we have a permanent media box set up now, which is right in front of the platform. So you have like a straight view of the platform, and then there's cameras on the platform as well. So we have like a bird's eye view camera, a rear view camera, and we also have a camera pointing to the staging area where the chalk bowl is. We call it chalk cam, right? So you can see the lifters chalking their hands, and as they come, that type of thing. And they're
That's
all
so
sort of
cool.
just sort of in the view of the camera, like you have your main camera, and then you have a couple of little ones that you can look at as well. That's all. There's been a bit of an upgrade from V3, but essentially it's the same. The scoring system is the same as what you guys saw. There's probably been a few changes, and it's still integrated with the broadcast. Like, so, for example, all the scoring system that we built integrates directly with the live broadcast. So all the all the stats that come in and all that stuff, it's basically hooked. Like, I can literally no one has to be sitting up there, right? And all the data comes in automatically. Lifter comes up, all the data comes across, and all the overlays and stuff. That's just all integrated. That just all works without anyone sitting
Bro.
there.
And that's a personal piece of software. You guys created it or bought it, or how did you come across that? Because that thing's powerful.
I built it. I built that software.
You built it?
Yeah, I built it. So, I mean, a bit of history to get you guys to understand. I have a software engineering degree. My brother has a control systems engineering degree. And so before we sort of got into, I guess, running a gym, Paul and I, we had a few .com businesses, developed some online advertising platforms, some gaming stuff. So we have a lot of experience building software. And so when we came into the sport, I was like, man, people are using a fucking spreadsheet. That's my dog, if you can hear a dog barking.
Yeah.
People are using a spreadsheet, man. I'm like, this is not going to do. So, I built it from the ground up. And I literally built that. The day we opened the gym, we had a deadlift comp, and I had like a beta version running. And over the years, we just added to it, right? So we have all sorts of stuff. And then we obviously added the live broadcast, so we integrated the data into that. And there's live score sheet running. So, you can go to the livepowerlifting.tv and click on the link, and there's a live score sheet as well that, so you can have it on your phone or whatever. But yeah, I built that, man. So, and we've had lots of people ask us
That's
for
sick.
it, and but it's not quite that portable because I designed it to be a closed loop system so that if I lost the internet connection here, right, the comp system would still run because it's all sits on a local server, right? So it's not highly portable, but there's a backup. If I lose the internet connection, I don't lose the system. We also have battery backup here, so if my power goes out, the whole competition system still runs. So the laptop will still run. Obviously, all the TVs and stuff will go on. We just have sort of what we need running. So the server stays on. All the laptops stay on and stuff like that. So there's a few things behind the scenes here that people kind of don't realize. Again, it's all, I guess, the attention to detail stuff that make a difference. Yeah. When we designed this building, we sort of started from scratch with all our cabinets and networks and all the wiring on the platforms all hidden. So when you're at the front of the platform, you can't see wiring, man. Like, there's all these TVs and all these gadgets, but you can't see any wiring. It's all conduited and hidden and stuff. So it looks really slick. It took us, Paul and I, a long time. So we did all the cabinets and all the wiring and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the power was done by the electrician, but all the network, all that stuff and stuff, we did all that stuff. Yeah. So we have experience in networking and obviously software, and so it's been a big advantage for us, right? So we've been able to build not only an awesome venue but a magnificent competition system that it's the best. Like, you can't beat it. I know that Open Powerlifting have their new software, but it still doesn't really compare to what we do. So we integrate all records and everything into ours, and there's new scenes.
Holy fuck!
It's so when lifters come onto the platform, if they're breaking a record, it will let the MC know, it will let the crowd know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. It is.
Man, that is absolutely unreal.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Remember
the comp standard.
Remember at that Nationals on the back screens we had the team points, the state points.
Yeah.
Remember that? So
yeah.
So you actually get a live indication of which teams are winning. So we'll have that this year as well for Nationals. So you'll be able to see which teams have accumulated the most points at play by play, right? As shit's happening.
That's so cool.
Which is cool. We actually did. We had APU Nationals here in 2019. So we opened this gym in August 2019, and in September we had APU Nationals. It was flawless victory, man. It was such a good meet. It was 4 days. It was incredible, man. So we're basically going to be replicating that for GPC, but trying to, obviously do a few more things and bits and pieces.
But man, that's what makes it more exciting. Like we can all admit, like if you don't know, if you're not in powerlifting, powerlifting is a boring sport to watch.
Very.
But as soon as you add those things in, like there's a live score, you can see who's doing what. Like that makes it so much more spectator friendly. It makes it more exciting, makes it more anticipating, and that's what people want to see. Like they want to see that excitement, and that's what's going to build. I'm still blown away by that. You built it all. Like that's insane, brother.
Thank you, man. And it's actually not that complicated. It's complicated, but it's not that complicated. I've built things that are a lot more complicated, but there is a lot going on behind the scenes. Look, man, your powerlifting is boring, right? We all know this, right? And what's great about comps like Pro Raw is it brings powerlifting to other people in the fitness industry who wouldn't travel to go see a powerlifting comp. And that's what people love about Pro Raw. You go there and there's 1,000 people because like every man and his dog loves bodybuilding, right? So you get all the bodybuilders there. No one's traveling to another venue to watch powerlifting unless you either have a friend there or you love powerlifting, right? And even then, if you love powerlifting, normally you don't go if you don't know anyone there. You know what it's like. And so in order to make the sport interesting and fun and exciting for the spectator, you need to provide them relevant information. One thing that we don't do well, and this is across the board in powerlifting, and some of the big federations do this well, like the IPF, USAPL, is share the lifters' experience with the spectators. Sometimes when you've watched like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent or something like that, right?
Yeah. Right? Massive fan.
If they did not share the emotion behind the person on the stage, you wouldn't have the same connection, right? And that's something that we don't do very well in powerlifting. There's a few reasons. One is obviously like if I've got 120 lifters over a weekend, it's very difficult to do, and it's very time consuming and you need to have the tools to be able to do it. So I think the next step for powerlifting is to try and engage the spectators more by sharing some information about the lifters. I tried to do that a little bit with the invitational we ran last year because I only had 30 lifters, so it was a bit easier. I don't know if you guys saw our Facebook, but I was sharing like lifter profiles, what they did for a living and all this kind of stuff, just to try and get some interest and stuff. But I think for powerlifting, if we can try and engage the audience more, I think we're going to have much more success from a spectator perspective. Because you're 100% right, it's boring. And the reason it's boring is because, let's say Odell Manu goes into the platform, right, and he's got 400 kilos on the bar. The general person that has never squatted before or who can squat 100 doesn't understand what 400 kilos means. They cannot empathize with it. They don't get it. So if you can sing a song or a story and tap into that emotion, you're going to be able to hit the audience way better.
I agree, man, and I reckon you've used that analogy, well, not even an analogy, but you compared it beautifully to like America's Got Talent, which I frequently watch and cry in because the stories are so beautiful. Like, and that's what connects you, bro.
100%.
Every time.
So we're thinking maybe a software upgrade 2.0 for the media stuff.
What was that?
For this will be a software upgrade version 3.6 for to capture all this, or what?
Man, it's very difficult. What I would like to do for GPC Nationals on the actual on the broadcast would be to have more information on the lifters, and as they come to the platform, that something comes across with some information. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to do something. It all depends on time and all that kind of stuff. But look, man, and obviously initially it's like just trying to put on an amazing event for the lifters and make sure they have an amazing experience, because that to me is the most important part. We've got over 50 lifters flying over from over east. I don't want them to come here and be disappointed. I want them to come here and be ranting and raving about how awesome it was and take that back with them over east, and then put pressure on those meet directors and those gyms and those people who run comps to try and step their game up, because the only way the powerlifting is going to get better if everyone tries to step it up, right? So that's, to be honest, probably the most important part of running this event. Obviously it'd be awesome to try and tap into the emotion a lot more, and I think if you can do that, you have success. But look, man, GPC Nationals it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Has it been difficult with, obviously, we go back a few years, and my first nationals was GPC Nationals 2015, and that was nearly a 6-day event, but there was only like GPC Capo was kind of lingering in the background, maybe a WRPF comp back here and there. But now with so many federations, has it been a lot more difficult to, I guess, obviously, fill spots, get interest for the event, things like that?
It's a good question, man. I think if you go back sort of when so I've been sort of around, so obviously over 10 years, about 12 years, I um, started being the GPC delegate here in 2013, right? So I've been to literally
Mm.
every nationals since then, apart from last year because we couldn't fly, and
Yep.
which sucked. And man, the best nationals that we've had, probably for me, the pivot, sort of the nationals that really said, "Holy fuck, GPC is really doing good things," was 2013 when Marcos ran
Mm.
GPC Nationals in Melbourne, and man, it was next level. It was just like,
Mm.
fuck, this is where powerlifting needs to go, right? And then Scott backed it up in 2014, 15, and 16 on the Gold Coast, and they were
Yep.
amazing meets. And back then,
Mm.
they used to just be open competition, right? Scott used to run 5
Mm.
days and shit like that, because we were trying to like just get as many people into the sport as possible. And I think that's really good at the start when you're trying to build a federation or you're trying
100%.
to build some sort of a body of lifting. But as you sort of get into the future, I think it's important to start to introduce like sensible progression in the sport. I
Mm.
think the sport needs to change a little bit. And it's something that I'm considering perhaps doing next year. But I'm probably going to get some pushback. Um, I'd like to see lifters have to qualify, for example, for states, and at states they
Mm.
qualify for nationals, right? That's
Mm.
the only way you keep people interested. Because what I'm finding locally, and I'm pretty sure other gym owners and coaches are finding this as well. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is that some of the lifters who've been around for say 4 or 5 years, they're bored shitless. They're bored,
Mm.
right? There's nowhere for
Mm.
them to go. They've already done everything
Mm.
in powerlifting. You know why? Because they could just submit an entry for nationals and fuck, they just go, right? Even lifters
Mm.
who probably shouldn't even be at nationals, and forgive me for saying that, but we need to have progression. A lifter needs to
Mm.
spend some time building and experiencing, and then you know qualify for your state championship, which should be something special. And then from there, you qualify for nationals. And those stepping
Mm.
stones of progression in the sport is important for a couple of reasons. One is because it keeps people interested and keeps them setting goals right. Because otherwise they lose interest, man. I know that a lot of
Mm.
lifters, even from my gym and my team over the years, have just dwindled off because like it's boring. Like there's nowhere for
Mm.
them to go anymore. And the other
I
reason,
agree with that.
it's just one of those things, right? And bodybuilding does this really well. You know, you get to this you qualify for that one, you get your pro card, you go to a pro show, and
Mm.
USAPL actually have some fantastic initiatives around this and progression. That they've got pro cards, you go to a pro show, they've got
Yeah.
pro
Right.
events, and I think that's sort of the direction we need to go. The problem that we have here in Australia, as you guys know, is we just have too many federations. Um,
Mm.
which it is what it is. And even when GPC opened its doors, there was Capo, and so it sort of started back then. But yes, I don't really want to get into the politics, obviously, but now
That's another
APL is doing
podcast,
really
bro.
well. Even Capo, there's a breath of fresh air in Capo now, which is great. And I think all the federations together should work together more, rather than sort of to me, I mean, I don't really care where someone lifts. I think the lifters are responsible, right? The lifters need to choose the competitions that they feel are one, best suited to them, and two, are the best competitions
Mm-hmm.
available, right? Because if lifters do that, then the federations that aren't providing that amazing experience and and those venues, they're the ones that will they'll sort of fade away. And the federations that are doing good things for the sport, they're the ones that will reign superior long term, right? In saying
Mm.
that, there's more to running a federation than how awesome the venue is, right? It's the
Mm.
federation's ability again to how they interact with people, how they touch the emotional side of people. Does the federation care about its members? Are they reaching out to them regularly? Stuff like
Mm.
simple shit, man. A normal business would put in place to, retain their clients, for example.
Yeah.
Mm.
Powerlifting at the top level, at a sort of at a business level, is really, really bad at doing that.
Mm.
You know,
Like, I would 100% agree. You make a lot of good points. Like a classic example for me, that one that comes to mind talking about, no progression is Luke Poley. Like he won GPC Nationals, 2014, 15, 16, and then was like, well, what do I do now? I don't think he's competed in GPC since
it's,
because there was no progression. It was either pro rule, big dogs came along, so he had another breath of fresh air to give him life back into his career.
exactly. And so what we've done with GPC Nationals this year is we've only got 105 lifters, right? And the reason we did that is because we knew that obviously expecting people to come over to Perth and with COVID, it was going to be difficult, right? So we wanted to try and keep it like succinct in a way that we encourage the best competition as possible within the weight classes, right? And the only way to do this is by limiting the numbers. The problem that we have worldwide with powerlifting is meet directors look at, they go, oh, $100, $150 entry. Fuck, if I get 1,000 lifters, that's 150 grand, right? People got to, especially at World Championships, right? You go to Worlds and there's like 6 days of lifting. It's ridiculous. So we have 105 lifters, man. So if we have 4 flights on the Saturday, and then we have 3 flights on the Sunday, and nice and short, nice and succinct, the best competition in those weight classes possible. Man, we sold out, so I'm really happy, So obviously there were some lifters that a lot of lifters declined, which is normal. And look, one of the reasons some of them decline was things like, they're going to breakthrough. There's, breakthrough is like a week or two before nationals. They've got like $60,000 in prize money between USAPL and the WIPF meet. I mean, for someone at the top end of the game, I get it. Why would you come all the way here to win no prize money when you can go there and win some money? One of the things that has to happen at a federation level is we need to start working out ways where we can inject money into our national competition to make it attractive again for people like Luke Polly, for people like Laura Scrow, those people who can literally walk into fucking breakthrough and win money. Why would they come to nationals? So. I think the first federation to work that out and do it really successfully, I think they're going to do really well, because you need to encourage people to come to nationals. And what happens is when you get those lifters coming to nationals, everyone else wants to come because they want to be on the same platform as Luke Polly and Laura Scrow and all those top lifters, right? Alex Deakin and all those. They want to be on that platform. They want to be competing against the best. Well, I hope they do anyway. And I think that's what I'd like to see sort of. Federation powerlifting go from a national perspective, from a nationals competition perspective.
I agree, man. There's no way about it. Like, I agree. Like, actually, I do mistake. Luke Polly did a capo comp just for fun the other couple of years back, and how many people love the experience of just being on the same platform as that bloke. Like, you're right. If the big lifters come, everyone will follow, and I think it is. I mean, you've got a great vision for the sport, and it's what I think. I wish all federation heads were listening to this podcast and these ideas, and it's what it needs. If the rising tide raises all boats, and it's only going to succeed and prosper for everyone. But everyone's got a piece of the pie with different federations, and that also comes into play. So,
look, man,
we get it.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, not everyone shares the vision that I have. A lot of people do, but unfortunately, the people that do, they're not in power positions, right? And the people that we have in power, I mean no disrespect, they just, I don't know. I don't get it, man. Do they want to grow these federations? Do they want federation powerlifting to grow? Do they want powerlifting to grow? Because if they can get these federations to grow, they become more attractive. The more we grow our sport, like you said, rising tides float all boats. Yeah, it's confusing to me, man. It's just one of those things. Like, look, like I said, everyone sort of has a different vision for the sport. Some people don't like the vision that I have, which is totally cool. Like, for example, I hate records. I hate all these fucking records that we have. We need to minimize the amount of records because, like, everyone gets a record. Like, it's ridiculous. Someone comes onto the platform and it maybe does some sort of big open record, and then the next lifter comes out and they're breaking some obscure record in some division that there's no one lifted in, and they're treated the same. They're not the same, right? So I'm big on, like, I know people are going to hate that, but I'm a master. I don't care about masters records. I'm a master. I don't care.
Yeah.
I care about the open record, man. I get that, as you get older, the things to achieve. But for me personally, I know that other people are going to have a different opinion, which is totally cool. I don't look at I have no idea what the Masters 1 GPC record is.
But is that also because you don't look like a master?
You're still about 34.
Like, unless I'm actually like attempting the open record. Like, to me, it's just natural.
It doesn't matter.
It's kind of like medals, right? Let me just get my dog. Give me a sec. I'm not going to say who it was, right? But obviously, when all the invites and stuff were going out, I actually had a lifter say to me, there's no point in me coming over because I'm not going to get on the podium. And I was like, what? That is literally the worst perspective you can have. You want to be in a competition that pushes you, that has lifters that are like 50, 100, 150, 200 kilos in front of you. I would rather lose. I would rather become last in a comp with 10 lifters in my weight class than win a weight class and win some gold medal where there was no competition, right? I went to Pro Roll in 2018, last minute invite. I weighed 101.7 and I competed in the 110s. I come last, man. I don't care because like I'm competing with some of the best lifters in Australia on what was one of the best platforms in Australia. Lifters, one of the problems we have in Australia is lifters don't get it. A lot of lifters don't get it.
Do you think, a question for you that I've just been thinking about since we raised it before. So 2015 GPC Nationals, as we said, like it was one of the biggest from my time in the sport, one of the biggest nationals ever. Open competition, anyone could come. Do you think though, in 2016 when then it was invite only, a lot of people felt rejected or disjected from it because they weren't able to compete in nationals, so they seeked out other federations?
Look, there's pros and cons to having the invite process and having open competition, and you've just nailed it right. In 2016, when GPC introduced the qualifying process, you're right, people got butthurt, right? Oh, I didn't get a nationals invite. Instead of getting butthurt, use that as a driving force in order to train harder and then to actually achieve an invitation for 2017.
100%.
Instead of going, you know what, I'm just going to go to a different federation. I can go. To me, that's pointless. And this is the problem we have in powerlifting. Like the lifter that messaged me saying he's no point coming over because he can lift like down the road cheaper and he's pretty much guaranteed a podium, right? It's basically the same attitude. It's essentially,
but that doesn't push you.
No, I mean, it's way more rewarding to get an invite to nationals that you've earned the spot rather than just paying the entry fee and going, and just because like anyone can go. I agree, it's a great way to build a federation, and that's what APL's done this year, and I'm pretty sure US APL is going to do it because they're relatively new, right? Fantastic way to grow your federation, but I think long term it has to change, and you need to introduce the progression pathways because that's what's going to keep lifters motivated long term, and then that's how we're going to see the best out of our lifters as well. Because if they lose interest, they're gone, and you never get to see the potential that someone has.
I agree with that 100% because I think one of the best things I remember, Nationals 2018. One of my lifters, Brock Ridsdale, came third in the 100 kilo class.
Good lift.
And I'm pretty sure Rate won that.
Wow, no,
by like 200
the 100 kilo class.
Yeah, 100 kilo class, sorry. Yeah. So Rate won with like a 950 total.
950.
Yeah. And then it was like Matt Middleton 8 something, and then it was Brock at 760. But that, yes, Brock podium, so yes, he got a medal and all that, but he had to fight for that podium. But seeing Rate do what Rate did that day motivated Brock so much. Brock came back the next year, went 800. In his next comp, went 830. Like, that's the attitude powerlifters need to take.
Oh, dude, I'm all for it. I agree. And this is the song that Paul and I, especially me, I've been singing this for years. It is a little bit polarizing because some people don't agree. But, when 2018, in that 100 kilo class was fucking ridiculous. You've got Brock that totaled 760. You've got like Matt who went like, I think Matt
830,
right? Like 850-ish. And both those boys are great lifters. And then you've got Wright who went 100 kilos or more than both. And honestly, he went 8 from 9.
He missed 2 lifts.
The last deadlift. And we were trying to break the Australian all-time 100 kilo record, right? Which was what in equip. Adam Coe went 960 or something, 960 at 100 in equipment. But equipment back then was not as good as it is today. So we just treated it as raw, right? It doesn't mean anything. It was just a target. I think he missed the last deadlift, but Wright is an incredible lifter. He'll be coming back next year. Yeah, he'll be coming back next year.
Ooh,
So
here we
it'll
go.
be interesting. He's just spent like some time with me, but he just did a bodybuilding show, IPB, won his
Yeah.
pro card. And
Fucking hell. Because I saw him at
course he
Pro
did.
Raw the next day rapping some bloke,
Yeah.
and he was just peeled. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, didn't you just come off stage? How are you? Oh, and he's just jacked.
See, Wright's
And,
one of those
you know,
guys
credit to him.
that
He is
people
an
compare
athlete. He's a
themselves
specimen.
to, but it's a little bit of an unrealistic comparison because
Hmm.
Wright has been doing this since he was a teenager for 20 years.
Mm.
He's a junior IPF champion. He's got a ton of experience in single ply. Raw's easy for Wright because like it's nowhere near as heavy as what he was lifting in equipment. So he's built for it, right? He comes into the gym. He's in the way he's Estonian, so he's got this crazy accent. Raw is easy, he says. It's like, I mean, he comes in here and he's the type of lifter that you watch him train and you're like, this guy's doing 260 kilo good mornings. What?
Holy.
Oh, fuck.
Like for reps, like seated safety
Yeah.
bar good mornings at like 250. Like it's ridiculous. Like,
Jesus.
He's one of those lifters you watch and you just go, that's like, yeah, wow, that's like next level, right? Wright is the type of lifter that I call him. He's a once in a generation lifter, right? Once in a generation guy that's going to walk into your gym, maybe. And we're lucky enough that he walked into our gym after from coming from Estonia. But yeah, he's just brutal. But then you got Matt, who's a great lifter, who did like 100 kilos less. It's like, yeah, it's mind blowing, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, it's disappointing. Rate's not going to be lifting at Nationals, but hopefully next year he'll make a comeback.
Who are some of the matchups you're looking forward to seeing at Nationals this year coming up?
I haven't had a lot of time to. Let me bring my sheet up.
There's gonna be a few good battles in the females.
If you actually go to the website 2022 GPCNationals.com, go to the competition menu and you go to flight schedule. The flight schedule is on there with all the qualifying totals, so it gives you a really good picture of what's happening.
Even that's
I imagine
really
they'll be pretty close. Be some pretty close spots there.
Yeah, there's some really good. I reckon the 67s is going to be tight. The 90s is going to be tight. There's some good look. Yes, we didn't get some of the top lifters. We got a few, like Lily Riley's coming over in the 75s, but that's going to be very tight as well. That podium's going to be the men. I mean, Darwin in the 90s from here, he's looking ridiculous. Like he just pulled 350 last week.
Get fucked.
I mean,
that's insane.
I mean, Darwin. So our club record here is 790, right? And we've been here for 10 years. So in 10 years, we've had one lifter go 790, right? Darwin's probably going to go about 850.
Oh, shit.
Right.
There we go.
We're tipping 830 to 850. As long as everything goes well, he should go about that. Like Darwin is going to be very difficult to beat in the 90s, and I think they're very difficult to beat overall as well. I think if Darwin has even just a normal day, I don't think anyone's going to beat him in terms of overall. So I think Darwin in the 90s is going to be crazy. The 100s is actually quite good as well. I think it's going to be closer than what people think. The 110s, Max Jones right up there. There's a few boys sort of just under him. Look, man, it's so hard to say. You know what it's like. Sometimes, I mean,
the exciting thing for Nationals, you've only got to miss one squat, and then it's game on. Doesn't matter how strong you were.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? You can put up a qualifying total, but on the day, pressure and all that type of thing, strategy. Look, to be honest, I'm looking forward to the whole comp. Like obviously from my perspective, I just want it to run smooth. I want people to have a good time. So, for me, that's probably the most important part. I'm going to try and do heaps of PR leading up to the competition, just to keep people in the know, especially the lifters, man. I think one of the problems that we have in powerlifting is we don't really keep the lifters up to date that much. And I want to make sure that the lifters, before they come here, they understand what equipment we've got. They've seen the warm-up area. They've seen the competition system. They understand how the back screens work. Just simple shit, man. Things like promoting our sponsors. I think that powerlifting has a lot to learn from professional sporting organizations when it comes to things like sponsorship, which is why we don't get very good sponsors, right? And the sponsors that we do have, they're people that are in powerlifting. They're equipment manufacturers and gyms and stuff like that. And Paul and I have sponsored, Pro Raw. We gave money to the West Side movie and all that stuff. So like, we need to be better at sponsorship so that we can attract bigger corporate sponsors. And the way we do that is by like being better at promoting them, like and trying to attract bigger audiences, right? Because when you go to a corporate sponsor, if you want them to drop 20K, they want to know what kind of audience that you're going to attract, right? I've got a friend who owns like a couple of Toyota dealerships, and he sponsors like Western Force and Wildcats and big sporting organizations, right? The key, the trick that we have as a sport is, how do we attract those types of sponsors? How do we get sponsors that want to drop 20K or 60K over 3 years? Imagine if we had a sponsor who dropped 60K over a 3-year contract period where we had $20,000 prize money for each nationals sponsored by that particular sponsor. That's where we need to be, because that's going to then attract lifters, right? I know this is very high, pie in the sky stuff, and it's all high level, but it can be done. Like, it can be done. At the moment, I think when you look at like some of the prize money comps around the country, I don't even know where the money comes from. Part of powerlifting for Paul and I was to try and make powerlifting sustainable so that it can continue into the future. Like, man, breakthrough. Where they get 60 grand from? It's crazy. I mean, good luck to you, but wow, it's insane.
I've been racking my head just the same.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Where's the business case for like 60 grand in sponsorship? It drives me insane, right? When we ran the Invitational here last year, we raised about 12,500, but it was like 500 from that person. There was about 15 people and 15 businesses and even personal individuals involved that gave money, right? And we only managed to raise about 12.5 grand, but I reckon that was actually amazing, because like raising 12.5 grand spread over about 15 to 20 people is way more sustainable than like someone dropping 30K into a comp that I don't really see a return on investment from. And I think as a sporting organization, in terms of powerlifting, I think we need to be better at attracting sponsors, because that's going to help us grow. You need money in the sport, and this is why gym owners, we all try and give back as much as possible. Yes, like for example, at our gym, we have this huge fucking venue. We've invested like literally 6 figures into powerlifting equipment. Man, I've got $50,000 or more in just trusting in my gym, right? It's expensive shit. Like, that money doesn't just get like plucked out of the sky, right? It comes through obviously entry fees and stuff. And then for Paul and I to maintain this building, the entry fees help pay my lease, right? Which then obviously means that we can continue running competitions here. I'm not getting the entry fee and put it in my pocket. It goes literally, I grab the entry fee and I give it to my landlord. Like, that's how it works. And that's how we're able to, I guess, maintain and sustain our building and continue to provide powerlifting. Powerlifting from day one has always been a volunteer sport, right? And the only way we can get it to sort of move on into the future, and so we can have venues like this, and is that the money that we get basically goes to my landlord, right? Like, I'm not pocketing it. In fact, we've actually worked it out. The space that we have, that we've, let's just say, I've got 1,350 square meters, right? I could literally run this gym. If I was to get rid of powerlifting, I could have a gym that was 500 or 600 square meters, right? So literally half of my building is there because we run comps, right? If I look at what it costs us to have that space annually, the entry fees that we get don't even cover that. So in effect, it costs me money directly to run powerlifting, right? But the problem is, like, people don't see that. They just see, 105 lifters at Nationals, $150 a ticket. Man, these guys just pocketed like 15 grand. No. We didn't pocket 15 grand, bro. It pays for my building. It doesn't even pay for the space that we have.
Not even a bottle of water at the end of that.
You know what I mean? And that's what's a little bit frustrating about powerlifting, is people don't really understand the economics of it. They only see sort of face value, But the only way for the sport to grow is by having money injected at the grassroots level, right? The top end's taken care of. We have these people putting up big money, and people that, whatever. At the grassroots is where you grow a sport, right? It's like a pyramid, right? It's like you need a huge. It's like training. We talk about base building. We talk about peak. It's the same shit. The bigger the base, the taller the peak. And for our sport to prosper, money needs to be injected at the bottom end, right? Through local sponsorships, entry fees, that type of thing. And I think as a country we actually do quite well. In terms of doing that. I think overseas they could learn a lot from how we run powerlifting here. You've been to World Championships. I've been to Slovakia for GPC Worlds. Man, they could learn a lot from what we do here.
Mm.
You know,
Absolutely, man. I
even with
think what you guys
coaching,
are doing,
you've got some very savvy coaches. All around the country, we have coaches that that are not don't just excel in coaching itself, but the marketing of their coaching services and all that type of stuff. We've got some very, very good coaches. We also have some very bad coaches, but that's like any industry, right? It is what it is.
That's
and
a whole
you're,
nother
like
podcast.
you said, you're sort of veering into education, right? And Paul and I have veered into education as well. Like we've been running our powerlifting courses now for like, I don't know, 7 years. And so we have like a fundamentals course. Fundamentals is probably a very bad word because it's actually quite in depth. And then we have like an advanced course, right? Man, we get heaps of PTs and coaches, allied health professionals come and do the courses because they want to learn about the sport. And so we do that. We've also been sort of talking about the concept of running like our own mentorship program as well. The only problem is just time. Yeah, time.
You guys do so much. I don't know where you'd find that time.
Yeah, it's difficult, man. So
you need another two brothers.
Yeah. Look, we do have a huge advantage is that there's two of us, right? First gym owners is just them, right? Paul and I, at least there's two of us, and we have a fantastic support team as well. The boys, they're fantastic. The amount of work that they do, and ever since we've had Elliot's just giving me the love heart through the door. We've only sort of, we used to have some contractors in the gym, and sort of when COVID hit, we started, we hired our first full timer, and honestly, I don't even know how we survived before without full time staff. Because now it's like
it's crazy. It's a different ball game as soon as you start putting people on the books.
I mean, it's the analogy of the plant in the pot, right? You put a plant in a very, very small pot, like this one. Like this one I made earlier. It's only going to grow to the extent that pot allows it to grow, right? As soon as you put that plant in a bigger pot, what happens to the plant? It just flourishes. It grows big. Right? It's kind of the same as a business, right? You can only do so much if it's just one business owner or two business owners. You add support, you add staff around that, and all of a sudden you're able to just like explode. And that's kind of what we've experienced over the last 2 years. Yes, obviously there's an overhead to having staff. I mean, there's of course, but the amount of people that we look after now compared to 3 years ago is like crazy.
That's insane, man. What you guys are doing over there is phenomenal, and as I said, a lot of people can learn a lot from your vision and just what you guys are doing to bring the sport up. And mate,
we
absolutely respect you guys for it.
No, we appreciate it. Look, we silo over here. We just do our thing. Try not to
Mate, to finish off the potty,
here we go.
We have 10 very random questions to get a better insight of who Dan Rucci is. First thing that comes to your mind. This is going to be exciting.
Number one thing.
Oh, shit.
So you ready?
Ready?
Dan, what did you have for dinner last night?
What did I have for dinner last night? I had mum's fettuccine with cutlets.
Ooh, fuck, that sounds good.
Dude, it was so good.
I like how there was cutlets too.
It was so
good.
What is in the boot of your car?
The boot of the car actually is a box full of my remedial massage stuff. There's dry needles and a whole bunch of shit because I'm actually bringing it all to the gym.
Lovely. When was the last time that you changed your bed sheets, sir?
I'm in the process of changing them now, actually, because we just washed them. So I guess right now.
Nice. It's washing day as well. That's a little segue question. What's your middle name, sir?
John.
Oh, nice. Strong name. Your favorite year and why?
Oh, that is a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I've got no idea. That is like... in terms of powerlifting, I'm going to say 2013 because that was the year, like I said, that our GPC Nationals went to another level. I'll just say that top of my head.
Got it. First piece of music you ever owned. Who was it?
This is really embarrassing.
Uh-oh.
The reason I own this piece of music because I won a pool comp and I got some CDs. It was like a Madonna CD or something. It was.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
I rate that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. The last dream you had. Do you remember?
I was getting my what? No.
You were getting your what?
Yeah, you know what? No. Next question.
Next question.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you retire?
Man, hopefully explore the world and have some great experiences. My wife is really big on experiences, right? And she's taught me that. So I think when we retire, we'd like to experience the world and what it has to offer.
Cool.
Love that.
Your morning routine? What's the what do you do for the morning to get ready?
Yeah.
How does it roll?
We get Ronnie from her cot. We bring her into our bed for a cuddle. I make my wife a coffee and I jump in the shower.
Oh, excellent.
That's the secret to staying young.
Now, this is going to be a good one because I think you might be.
Yeah.
I think you'll be across this one and have some good thoughts. What do you think of AI?
I think AI is going to be a game changer in terms of look, I love the Terminator movies, so it could go that way. So I don't know. AI is going to be great. I think it's going to mean a lot of job losses because they're going to be able to do things better than us. I don't know. It's a good question. Like, I mean, it's one of those like paradoxes, right? If AI becomes smarter than us, where does that leave us? You know, I mean, yeah. Fucked. I like listening to YouTube stuff about AI, and there's a lot of interesting, perspectives.
Mate, that's the 10.
That was 10.
How'd you go? That was 10.
Wow,
10, nailed
it. That didn't seem like 10, but that was cool.
It was quick and easy.
Well, we did skip one, obviously, for obvious reasons, but mate, an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for making the time. Really for everything you've just said, you're absolutely busy. So we'll do the shout out thing. Give yourself a plug. Where can people find you if they want to know more?
Obviously, if they want more information on our gym, it's ruccisgym.com. If they want more information on GPC Nationals, it's 2022gpcnationals.com. I'm very easy to find on social media. I've had my phone since mobile phones were invented. My number hasn't changed. It's on the building. It's on the website. It's pretty easy. Pretty straightforward, yeah.
Easy, brother. We'll chuck it all in the show notes. Mate, enjoy the rest of your day. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and we can't wait to catch up at GPC Nats.
Can't wait, man.
Thanks,
awesome.
brother.
You guys, make sure you guys come over. Are you going to come over on the Friday or the Saturday?
I'll probably come over I'll probably fly the Thursday, to be honest.
Oh, wicked. Come and make sure you stay for the presentation dinner on Sunday, because that's going to be
done.
Epic.
Lovely.
It'll be awesome.
Lovely.
Right, thanks very much, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Too easy, my man.
Thanks,
have a good one, brother.
Take it easy.
Bye.